The screenshot landed in my inbox like a perfectly aimed dart, piercing the fragile peace I'd built around our upcoming European adventure. Only 2 months until Spain, my brother's Instagram post innocently declared, and in that instant, I knew the carefully constructed lie, designed to keep my challenging sister far from our dream trip, had just imploded. The furious texts that followed were just the beginning of a family war I'd desperately tried to avoid, all for the sake of a few weeks of unburdened travel. Story: The Unspoken Journey, a family divided by a European dream. The aroma of freshly brewed espresso still clung to my memory, a phantom scent from a distant Italian cafe. It was a good memory, one of many from past adventures with my brother, Alex, and my 2 closest friends, Maya and Liam. We'd scaled mountains, navigated bustling souks, and laughed until our sides hurt in various corners of the world. Our travel dynamic was effortless, early risers, adventurous eaters, always up for a spontaneous detour. We were a well-oiled machine, and that's precisely what I envisioned for our upcoming grand adventure. 3 glorious weeks traversing Italy, France, and Spain by train. This wasn't just any trip. It was the trip. The kind you dream about for years, meticulously plan, and save for. Our itinerary was packed: ancient Roman ruins in the morning, a high-speed train to Florence for an afternoon of Renaissance art, then a late-night tapas crawl in Barcelona. It was active, immersive, and designed for maximum exploration. Lots of walking, early mornings, late nights, and a relentless pursuit of authentic local experiences, especially culinary ones. Each of us had a role in the planning, and the synergy was palpable. The group chat buzzed with excitement, sharing articles about hidden gems and debating the merits of different gelato flavors. Then came the inevitable question, delivered with a hopeful lilt that always sent a shiver down my spine. Can I come? It was my younger sister, Chloe. At 26, she was vibrant, intelligent, and fiercely independent in many aspects of her life. But when it came to travel, she was, to put it mildly, a challenge. Chloe uses a walker, which, while not a barrier to travel in itself, certainly adds layers of complexity, especially in old European cities with cobblestone streets, narrow doorways, and countless stairs. Beyond the physical logistics, there were her other quirks. She was an incredibly picky eater, to the point of walking out of restaurants if the menu stressed her out. The thought of her navigating a bustling Spanish tapas bar, refusing everything but plain bread, made my stomach clench. She disliked walking, got overwhelmed easily by crowds or unexpected changes, and had a knack for turning minor inconveniences into major crises. I loved Chloe, truly, but traveling with her felt less like an adventure and more like a carefully managed logistical operation, constantly teetering on the brink of disaster. My mind flashed back to our last family trip, a seemingly innocuous weekend getaway. We were due to catch an early morning flight, a non-negotiable departure time. Everyone was packed, ready to go, except Chloe. She insisted on curling her hair, a process that, for her, seemed to involve an intricate ritual of brushes, sprays, and hot tools that extended far beyond the promised 10 minutes. 90 minutes later, we were still waiting, her hair perfectly coiffed, our flight rapidly approaching. We rushed to the airport, only to be delayed further by security's thorough inspection of her walker. We missed the flight. The entire group, including our parents, had to rebook, pay exorbitant fees, and endure hours of airport purgatory, all while Chloe seemed genuinely bewildered by our frustration. "It's just hair," she'd said, as if the laws of time and airline schedules bent to her will. That incident, among others, had solidified a quiet, unspoken pact within me. I would not let Chloe derail another carefully planned trip. This Europe adventure was sacred. It was a chance for me, Alex, Maya, and Liam to reconnect, explore, and create new, unburdened memories. The thought of navigating European trains with a walker, finding accessible restaurants for a picky eater, or soothing Chloe through an inevitable sensory overload meltdown filled me with dread. It wasn't just about my enjoyment. It was about the collective experience of the group. We had all invested so much. So, when Chloe asked, "Can I come?" my mind raced. A direct no felt impossible. I'd tried it before. The guilt trips would begin immediately, a relentless barrage of emotional manipulation. "You're excluding me because I'm disabled," she'd imply, even if it wasn't explicitly stated. You don't want me there because I'm a burden. My parents, well-meaning but often caught in the crossfire, would inevitably get involved, urging me to be more understanding. And then, the ultimate weapon, she'd try to force her way in, planning her own parallel trip, sometimes even to the same destination, making it awkward and unavoidable. I couldn't risk it. Not for this trip. A desperate idea sparked. "Oh, Chloe," I began, feigning a slight regret, "we're actually going in August. Like, the first 3 weeks of August." I knew, definitively, that she had a major wedding to attend on August 30th, a close friend's elaborate ceremony she wouldn't miss for anything. It was the perfect, irrefutable conflict. A small, white lie, I told myself, for the greater good. A necessary evil to preserve the integrity of our European dream. In reality, our tickets were booked for the first 3 weeks of September. A difference of only a few days, but enough to avoid the wedding conflict and, crucially, avoid Chloe. I felt a pang of guilt, a fleeting whisper of "this isn't right," but it was quickly drowned out by the immense relief that washed over me. The path was clear. Our trip was safe. The next few months were a whirlwind of excitement. We finalized train tickets, booked charming boutique hotels, and mapped out walking tours. Alex, Maya, Liam, and I spent hours on video calls, poring over maps, practicing a few basic phrases in Italian, French, and Spanish, and debating the merits of different local wines. The anticipation was almost as good as the trip itself. We were a cohesive unit, a team ready to conquer Europe unencumbered. Then, 2 months before our actual departure, the carefully constructed facade crumbled. I was at work when my phone buzzed, a furious cascade of messages from Chloe. "What the hell, my name?" followed by a screenshot. It was Alex's Instagram story, a casual photo of a travel guide with the caption, "Only 2 months until Spain. Can't wait." My heart sank. I had completely forgotten about Alex's social media habits. Chloe didn't use Instagram, or any social media for that matter, but clearly, someone had shown her the post. My brother, bless his oblivious heart, had inadvertently blown my cover. "You manipulative, cruel, deceitful liar," her texts continued, each word a venomous arrow. "You excluded me on purpose. How could you do this to your own sister?" I stared at the screen, the words blurring. The truth was out. And she wasn't wrong about the exclusion. I had excluded her. But the cruel part stung. It wasn't about cruelty. It was about self-preservation. It was about wanting a trip that was truly, unequivocally, fun. When she called, her voice was raw with betrayal. "Why would you lie to me?" she demanded, tears thick in her throat. I tried to explain, to justify. "Chloe, this trip is really active. It's a lot of walking, early mornings, and constantly moving. We're going to be eating a lot of unfamiliar food. And I didn't think it would be enjoyable for you. Or for us." "So you just decided for me," she retorted, her voice rising. "You decided I wasn't capable. You decided I wasn't worth inviting." The conversation devolved quickly. She brought up every past grievance, every perceived slight. I felt myself shutting down, the familiar wall of defensiveness rising. I knew if I apologized for the lie, she would interpret it as an admission that I was wrong to exclude her, that she should have been invited. And I wasn't ready to concede that. I still believed, deep down, that my decision, however poorly executed, was the right one for the trip. Then the parental intervention began. My phone rang constantly. My mother, her voice laced with disappointment, lectured me about maturity and honesty. "You should have just talked to her like an adult," she sighed, a sentiment echoed by my father. "Lying was immature. You've hurt her deeply." They were right, of course, on a purely ethical level. Lying was immature. A direct conversation would have been the adult thing to do. But they didn't understand the full weight of the situation, the years of navigating Chloe's emotional landscape, the previous attempts at directness that had only led to more conflict and her eventual, unwanted inclusion. I tried to explain my reasoning to them, about the past incidents, about her tendency to force her way in. They listened, but their primary focus remained on the fact that I had lied, and that Chloe was now deeply hurt. The air in our family was thick with tension. Chloe wasn't speaking to me, or to Alex, who was now caught in the crossfire. My parents were giving me the disappointed parent treatment, a silent judgment that hung heavy in the air. I heard whispers, through the family grapevine, that Chloe was now planning a trip with our parents, coincidentally to Europe, and perhaps even coinciding with our dates. The very scenario I had tried to avoid seemed to be manifesting anyway, but now with added layers of resentment and broken trust. As the September departure date loomed, a bitter taste settled in my mouth. The excitement for the trip was now tinged with a pervasive sense of guilt and exhaustion from the family drama. I had achieved my goal. Chloe wasn't coming with us. The trip would be fun, smooth, and exactly as we'd planned. But the cost felt immense. Was a smooth trip worth the fractured family relationships? Was my desire for an unburdened vacation worth the pain I had inflicted on my sister? I still hadn't apologized for the lie. Not truly. I had expressed regret that she was hurt, but I hadn't said, "I'm sorry I lied." Because, in a twisted way, I still felt it was the only viable option I had at the time. The alternative, I believed, would have been a different kind of disaster, one that would have ruined the trip for everyone involved. But now, seeing the fallout, the anger, the tears, the parental disappointment, I couldn't help but wonder if I had simply traded one kind of chaos for another, far more damaging one. The European dream, once so bright and clear, was now shrouded in a cloud of familial discord, a testament to the difficult choices we sometimes make and the unforeseen consequences that inevitably follow. Conclusion. The plane tickets were bought, the bags were packed, and the European adventure awaited. Yet, the joy I had anticipated felt diminished, overshadowed by the chasm that had opened within my family. The silence from Chloe, the quiet disapproval from my parents, and the awkward tension with Alex served as constant reminders of the price of my deception. I had secured the trip I wanted, free from the logistical and emotional challenges Chloe presented, but at what cost? The smooth, unburdened journey I craved had come at the expense of honesty and, perhaps, a deeper understanding within my family. As I boarded the plane, leaving behind the unresolved conflict, I was left to ponder whether the fleeting pleasure of an unencumbered vacation could ever truly outweigh the lasting pain of a broken trust. The European dream, once a symbol of freedom, now felt like a heavy burden, a testament to the difficult, often messy, realities of family and the unforeseen consequences of even the smallest lies.